When atomic fire consumed the Earth, those who survived did so in great underground vaults. When they opened, their inhabitants set out across the ruins of the old world to build new societies, establishing villages, forming tribes. As decades
I ain't really changed, it's the same old rebel, still a radical, I'm passionate, it's just another level. AT told me I should fight back, they don't like that. Just know if you rock the boat, you better have a life raft. BJ told me I should fight back, they don't like that. Just know if you rock the boat, you better have a life raft.
What up, everybody in the YTBC? So, I've actually seen some channels saying that they're going to boycott the Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Povetkin fight. Their reasoning being that, in their opinion, Anthony Joshua ducked Deontay Wilder. And I really don't think that's really a logical thing to do. I mean, by all means, if you want to boycott the fight, you boycott the fight. Y'all are your own people. You're individuals. You can make your own individual decisions as to whether or not you're going to boycott anything. Whether it be a fighter, a fight, a sport, a product, whatever it is, you're your own person. You can decide, pick and choose what you are going to support and consume. But the reason why it just doesn't really make much sense, well, there's a couple reasons. Well, first off, I don't understand. I still can't understand how people can say that Anthony Joshua ducked the fight. Everybody's favorite thing to bring up is the $50 million. Well, that's been debunked because Shelly Finkel himself said that the funds were not in escrow. He said that they would be in escrow, but he wanted Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua to accept the fight before they even received the contract and before the funds were even in escrow. Now we're talking about $50 million here. You do realize that when you go to buy a house, money has to be in escrow. Now, I didn't look it up, but I'm pretty sure the average mortgage in the United States is not $50 million. So if they're going to require funds to be in escrow for a house that is more than likely far less than $50 million, what makes you think that it would be acceptable to accept the fight for $50 million if that money is not in escrow yet? You can't even negotiate on the $50 million till that money is in escrow. So he didn't duck the fight. You ever heard you cashed a check that you can't or you wrote a check you can't cash? That's basically what Shelly Finkel and Deontay Wilder were doing. They basically wanted them to accept the fight on a chance, on faith. So, yeah, the $50 million was a bullshit offer because they couldn't offer it yet. Technically, Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua could not accept the offer. So, yeah. But back to the boycott. So even if you still feel, despite the facts and the fact that, well, Deontay Wilder turned down an offer first, and that offer did fall within the guidelines of what Deontay Wilder said. Despite those facts, if you still see it that Anthony Joshua ducked this fight, it still does not make sense to go ahead and boycott this fight. Because if you want to show that this fight is really $100 million fight, you do realize that you're going to diminish the value of the fight by not watching Anthony Joshua. That makes the fight worth less. And let's be honest, here in the States, Deontay Wilder doesn't get the kind of support that's going to make up for that. In the grand scheme of things, in real life, the UK, despite it being a smaller piece of land in comparison to the United States of America, support Anthony Joshua financially way more than we do here in the States for Deontay Wilder. Those are facts. It's not hate. It's not speculation. Those are facts. If you don't believe me, look at the two fighters' net worth. Because if that wasn't the case, Deontay Wilder would not be worth, like $18 million, and I'm probably being generous. And Anthony Joshua wouldn't be worth $40 million. It would be the other way around. It would look much different. It would look very much opposite of what it actually looks like in reality. So, boycotting Anthony Joshua just isn't going to do anything. As far as I know, this fight's going to be on the DAZN app. And over in the UK, they don't have that app available to them. At least not yet. That could be in the cards for them in the future. But as for right now, there is not even a rumor that they're going to have DAZN. But it wouldn't surprise me if they get it sometime later on down the line. However, in the UK, that's going to be a pay-per-view fight. And I can guarantee you that the UK is going to buy that pay-per-view. They are going to buy the shit out of that pay-per-view. And all that we're going to prove by boycotting the fight is that the American fans just don't support not only Anthony Joshua, we don't support boxing. Because that's what it all boils down to. Are we going to boycott? Here's the thing. People want to boycott over every little thing now, ever since the thing with Golden Boy. At least with Golden Boy, there was a moral stance. I don't think people quite have all the facts on that, but if you going off of face value and what you know, and it would appear that there's something racist going on there, I could at least respect that you're boycotting due to a moral stance. Because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. But there's nothing moral going on here. These two guys could not agree to terms. And just because Anthony Joshua didn't bend to the will of Deontay Wilder, y'all are upset and want to boycott the fight. Like I said, you're grown men and women. Y'all can make your own decisions. If you don't want to buy the DAZN app, that makes more sense to me. Not just saying you're going to boycott the fight. If you say the DAZN app doesn't make sense to you, then by default, you're not going to watch the Anthony Joshua fight. As a consumer, that's your right. But you're only diminishing the value of the fight because you're diminishing the value of one of the fighters here in the States. But I'll tell you what, as I said before, in the UK, they're only going to increase the value of their fighter. And as long as Deontay Wilder is not able to do the same over here, as long as Deontay Wilder is not able to sell out the venues he's in over here, as long as Showtime is making it free, you don't have to have a subscription to Showtime half the times he fights on Showtime. As long as that stuff is going on, his value is not going to increase. Because Showtime doesn't have the faith that if they just require their subscription, that they're going to get the views. Everybody likes to inflate the views, likes to focus on the views. Well, the fact of the matter on the views is Deontay Wilder, you're not having to pay to see his fight, not even for the subscription. So yeah, that's why it doesn't make no sense to boycott. First off, boycott where it makes sense. Because your guy didn't get his way is not really a good reason to boycott. That seems more like a temper tantrum. At least have it for a legitimate reason. Like I said, you say that the Zone app is not for you, then by default, you're not watching that fight. And you're getting the same thing accomplished by not looking like a little, temper tantrum 2-year-old. So my subscribers, anybody watching my videos, or if you just so happen to stump on this video, let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Have a wonderful, blessed day. Peace.
Undefeated.